For 1,760 days, the world has been holding its breath. A royal romance whispered in corridors, hidden behind palace gates, and carried across oceans of speculation. But what if I told you that this is not just another fairy tale? That the love story between Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark is about to culminate in the most historic wedding of a generation. And that every single detail, the waiting, the silence, the stolen moments, has led to this one extraordinary day. It begins not in glittering palaces or under the blinding light of cameras, but in the quiet understanding of two young heirs who knew the weight of their futures long before they could even shape their own paths. Leonor, Spain's future queen, raised under the gaze of a nation that demanded strength, grace, and duty. Christian, Denmark's prince, expected to continue a dynasty of stability and tradition. Separate worlds, separate destinies, until fate decided otherwise. For 4 years and nearly 10 months, their bond was a secret guarded fiercely. Imagine the tension of being young, royal, and in love, while the world speculated endlessly about who might one day share the throne. While others their age discovered themselves freely, Leonor and Christian discovered each other through whispers, coded gestures, and moments away from the public eye. Every passing day added weight. Every passing day added hope. And now, the tally stands at 1,760. But what makes this love story so extraordinary is not just the time that passed, but the challenges it endured. Leonor faced the training of a monarch, military academies, endless public scrutiny, the burden of being Spain's symbol of stability. Christian grew up under the watchful eye of Queen Margrethe's Denmark, where expectations for him were no less demanding. And yet, through the storm of duty, they found an anchor in each other. The palace tried to keep their story quiet, shielding it from tabloids hungry for headlines. But love has a way of leaving traces. A glance across a crowded hall. A smile at an official dinner. An absence noticed in Spain when Leonor slipped away to Denmark. Or when Christian found himself drawn more frequently to Madrid than diplomacy required. Each hint was enough to spark rumors. Each rumor enough to stir excitement. And still, they waited. What drives two young royals to wait for nearly half a decade before the world can see their union? Perhaps it was the desire to prove their love was more than a passing fascination. Perhaps it was to ensure that duty and love could walk hand in hand, not in conflict but in harmony. Or perhaps, simply, it was the weight of knowing that their wedding would not just unite two hearts but two nations. Picture it now. The Spanish flag fluttering beside the Danish. Bells echoing from cathedrals across Madrid. Guests arriving from every corner of Europe's royal families, cameras flashing, millions watching. But behind the spectacle lies the true heartbeat of the story, two young people who spent 1,760 days protecting a bond they refused to let duty destroy. Yet, even as the world prepares to celebrate, questions remain. How will Spain react to welcoming a Danish prince into its monarchy? Will Christian, raised in Denmark's traditions, adapt to the weight of Spanish expectation? And what role will politics play, as two royal houses intertwine at such a critical time for Europe? This is more than a wedding. It is a negotiation between tradition and modernity, between personal happiness and national duty. Leonor and Christian's love story forces us to ask, can two monarchies find strength in unity? Or will the pressures of their crowns test the very bond they've fought so hard to protect? To understand the depth of this moment, we must return to where it began. To the day Leonor, barely stepping into her role as heiress apparent, first crossed paths with Christian, himself quietly preparing to inherit Denmark's crown. Neither knew what destiny had written. Neither knew that one encounter would blossom into 1,000 days of waiting. But they knew enough to protect it, to nurture it, and to fight for it against the tide of royal tradition. The 1,760 days tell a story of patience. A story of resilience. A story of love lived not in the open but in the spaces between headlines, carried forward by the promise of something greater. And now, the countdown ends. The waiting gives way to celebration. And history prepares to remember a day that is not just about crowns and thrones, but about two hearts that refused to let duty silence love. Because this is not just the wedding of Princess Leonor and Prince Christian. It is the wedding of two nations, the wedding of tradition and modernity, the wedding that will echo in history as proof that even royalty must wait for love, but when it arrives, it changes everything.